All right. Hello, everybody. This is Monica, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV, where we bring powerful leaders, change makers, healers, community builders to you to present their missions and visions and empower you. So today we have a very special guest, and I'm so grateful for your presence here. Thank you for coming on the show and watching. And if you're here live, welcome. If you're watching the recording, welcome. I really appreciate your time. I know there's a lot going on, but you are here, and thank you from my heart. You will not regret it because we have a very special guest today that I'm so excited, and I feel like, my heart and my body will be nourished after this conversation, and so is what I'm wishing for you as well. And so today we have the beautiful Victoria Dioh, who, Victoria is a healer and a cook, and she uses food to bring healing and nourishment to her community. She's a powerful leader in this respect. And in terms of where Victoria comes from, she spends 20 years in the corporate world, satisfying what she calls her first calling, which was heading programs for both the public and private sector. And at the same time, Victoria also cooked since the age of 11, and she describes her cooking as watching the hands of God at work. I just so love that. Um, and to make life even more interesting and complex, Vic has recently been ordained as an oracle in Africa, and I would love to hear more about that. And she eventually accepted her calling as a healer and oracle, and she spends her time between the kitchen and healing loved souls. And I know she's doing all this amazing community work. Currently, she lives in London, and she is helping those beautiful souls through, I believe, her heart and her skills and her healing capacities and abilities. So we're going to let her share her brilliance today with us. Hello, Victoria. How are you
Hi,
doing?
thanks. That was a beautiful introduction. Thanks, Monica. Thanks for
Yes.
having me on.
Well, thank you again. I know you were sharing how busy you are, how much, how much is going on around in your world, and how much you are helping in your community. So it's
Right.
huge for me that you actually are taking some time of your busy schedule to be here, and it's really appreciated. I am very excited, and I know you're going to bring that healing and nourishment out to the world within this hour here. So thank you so much.
Very so.
Beautiful.
Very so. Very so.
Good. So tell us what's going on.
What's going on currently? Well, like everybody else, we are in lockdown. So I'm based in the UK. I live in
Mm-hmm.
London.
Yes.
And, you know, if you hear the news, and yes, there are some exaggerations, but the truth of the matter is people are panicking. So one of the things that, again, it comes from me being the cook and the healer, is making sure that people eat and people feel as if they're eating from abundance rather than from lack. And I recently sort of like found an opportunity with the supermarket to be able to go there and make sure that people's online shopping is delivered on time. And it's such an amazing gift because you get to see every basket tells a different story. Does that make sense? You get to see the mums, and you can tell which mums are homeschooling and which mums are the new mums, and the guys who just want to have fun and want to make a party of this at home and want to entertain themselves. So it's an amazing contribution from not just myself but from other people as well. And I spend 8 hours a day doing that, and I actually work the twilight hours as well. So I go there for 2 o'clock in the morning and I finish at 10. And yeah, the long hours, but I love it. I feel so honored to be doing it, because if it wasn't for where we are right now, I wouldn't be doing this. So very, very honored to be doing it.
Wow, this is
Yes.
such an example of actually taking the challenging times to actually make it an opportunity for you to shine, shine your brightness and your healing light.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. So tell us more about how did it all start? You're bringing the healing and the cooking together. Where are you coming from?
Oh goodness, bringing the healing together. It's like everything, or like most people's lives, things don't just happen like that, right? So transformation can happen like that, but you'll realize that you've been working towards this all your life. You just don't realize it, right? So you and I met through Tony Robbins events, and one of the things that I've been telling my following is that where we are right now, we have been preparing for this for a very long time, right? So we have been attending these events, we've been learning, we've been creating friendships, relationships, and I don't think we realized what all that work was preparing us for. Similar to me, really, in my life. At the age of 11, I remember being accepted into boarding school, and my mum just said to me one day, that's the kitchen, here's the household, cook. And our home, we're fortunate to, my dad had a 6-bedroom 6-bathroom home built, right? I think that's now a 9-bedroom home now. So we've had even extensions built onto it. But every room was filled with either cousins, my grandma, my mum, my dad, siblings. So I, at the age of 11, had to go to the kitchen and work out menus and work out what everybody liked and worked out portion sizes and had to cook for everybody 3 times a day. So, and it just, yeah. And it didn't all start very well. I remember the first time I made rice, the rice was so soggy. And my dad didn't go easy on me. He was like, well, you're going to eat that rice because you've just wasted rice. And yeah, I put too much water in. Let me say that it never happened again.
Right. Exactly.
I paid more attention to the rice and stuff. And, and I just learned I learned by watching people's faces, their reactions, how they felt when they ate, and the sense of appreciation when they had good food. And then I started to realize that it couldn't just be me having to cook the food. It came from me wanting to cook the food. And when you want to cook for someone, the intention behind it just exudes in the food, right? So, and that's carried on into my business. I'm very particular who can help me in the kitchen. I go through a whole meditation before I cook in my kitchen. So even when I cook, I have a cooking sauce line. Even when people eat the cooking sauces, months later after it's been cooked, they can feel the vibration in the food.
Wow.
Right.
So beautiful. Wow,
Yeah.
the vibration. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just the food, it's not just something we put in our stomachs, it's the vibration that we absorb in our whole body.
Right, right.
Love
And
it.
cooking can't be a selfish activity either. So I learned as well that just because my mom had assigned me to look after the home, I had to want to look after the home in the food department, and wanted to connect with people through that food. And I didn't realize what I was doing, but it all of a sudden it became very important for me to do that. So the food and the healing, it was a process, but it was just an awareness, I believe, that just woke up in me as I'd been gifted this responsibility. All of a sudden it became, wow, this is how much this means to me, without even realizing what it actually meant in the bigger sense of the word.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, that was the food. That was the food element. The healing element, goodness. I recently spent some time with the amazing Alison Armstrong, who's the author of The Queen's Code. And that's currently, I posted something on my profile yesterday about that. And she calls me the reluctant oracle because I had so many signs. I had so many signs about my calling. And by nature, and I'm sure there's so many other people like me, I am very logical. You know, I normally want to see it to believe it. I want to, 1 + 1 = 2. So if somebody's telling me that 1 + 1 = 1, I have to think a bit more and sometimes ignore it. And that's what happened with my healing life. There were so many signs. I initially thought I was depressed. I then sought advice where I got told, no, you're not. You're coming into your calling. That meant nothing to me whatsoever. And gradually, I realized that I'd been healing people all my life through conversation, through touch, through presence, through just being there.
Yes.
And I really, really, truly undersold myself. I didn't give myself credit for that. And yet people remembered how it made them feel. People remembered the instances they'd spent with me. People remembered the moment I'd taken that time to actually look at them and see their soul. And I think I remember when we first met, I remember you just walking up to me completely dazed, and you said something so beautiful to me and stuff. And I was like, I don't even know her. How does she know? And that reaction happens quite a lot.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, after a number of instances, my life took another turning where my corporate world, because I was all about the corporate world, I loved being in the corporate world. I loved the job I did. In the personal development world, you normally get people who say, well, I don't like my job. I don't resonate with my colleagues. I want to leave. I never wanted to leave. But the way the universe and God would have it, everything just shut down one day. And after 20 years of being headhunted to manage programs like the Olympics 2012 and to manage programs like the MP's expenses in the UK, all of a sudden those calls stopped just like that. And when they stopped, I got scared because I had defined myself by how much I earned. I was earning 6 figures, and I loved that about it. I loved that about my life. I was driving the car I wanted. I lived in the home I wanted, and I didn't know there was anything else to aspire to. Even though I'd been going to Tony Robbins events for about maybe 6 months by then, I was Vic and I loved my life. And a bit like now, where the world has had to stop, my life stopped and I had to take stock. So this is almost like my second lockdown, because when I had my lockdown where I didn't want to go out, I wasn't sure what was happening. I was scared. I had time to reflect, and that's when my healing gifts really soared. And I became more aware of how powerful my healing properties were, and I opened up myself to receiving teachers and gifts from people to be able to understand exactly what route I was going to go down.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is powerful. And the universe really made you do it almost, but
Right.
you collaborated.
I had to.
Yes.
I had to. It was either that or, I don't know what to do. But you know what? If you sit still for a while, especially where we are right now, I couldn't think of a better time to do this call. If you sit right now, you will receive your message of what to do, who to speak to, who to connect to. And you'll be amazed at the people that will knock on your door, literally knock on your door. And those, I call them my angels because they keep coming. Right now, it's very much a flow, and people go, oh my God, how do you manifest so much? But it's because I literally surrendered. That's one of my biggest words. I surrendered to, I don't know what's going to happen. I know what I would love, and I'm just going to let it out. And gradually, it just flows. And I can honestly tell you, even today, I still get the calls that literally serve me on that purpose to enable me to be able to help others.
Wow. And I want to acknowledge, I mean, and it doesn't even need acknowledging, but your presence, that exuding the healing energy, and that presence, to me, it's very, very feminine and very grounded in Mother Earth. And it's almost like you're bringing up that incredible, powerful healing that's available. You know, it's available all around us. It's available through Mother Earth.
Right.
And tell us, where are you from?
So my parents originate from Cameroon in West Africa. And, well, some people say Central Africa. We actually have, we're actually called Central Africa and West Africa. It depends who you speak to, but we are both. And I was born in a town called Leeds in England. And yeah, both my parents were born in Cameroon, and I go back quite a lot. It's where our family home is. It's where my dad is buried. And it's also where I recently got initiated as an oracle. Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell more about that, if that's something you want to share? Yeah, and so, how does that work? How does it link to your roots in Africa?
Well, if you'd have asked me this a year ago, I probably would have had no idea what you were talking about. However, the people who have been doing this a lot longer than I have, when they see me, they go, oh, you're a seer. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So I can literally see someone and connect with them at a very, very deeper level. I can go back to their childhood. I could go into where they currently are, what they're currently experiencing. I try not to do the whole future thing because I'm not God and what have you. But I can give directions on what they should be thinking about, whether it's with regards to career, business, people around them. So relationships in the bigger sense of the word. I try not to dramatize what I do. So if people come to me and go, oh, this guy, what do you think? You know, I try not to go down that road because I do that with my teacher as well, because I'm dated at the moment. And I go, oh, this guy, what do you think? And my teacher just looks at me and goes, really? This is what you discourage with your clients. So I don't do that. But so I do have that seeing ability, but I didn't really know what that meant. Were you at Life and Wealth? In Tenerife?
I still haven't. I will one day, but I still haven't, unfortunately, you know.
Right. So Life and Wealth is an amazing event. It's a Tony Robbins event as well.
Yeah.
But I went there in August last year, and so much happened to me then. I think that's where I really just sat into my essence and really absorbed the whole feminine energy, because again, naturally, I tune into my masculine energy. I'm a single woman and I have stuff to do, and I get up and I'm a doer. I'm always doing, right? So to be able to sit and be and receive took some practice. And that's where I believe I stepped into my own. I really did step into my own Life and Wealth. And it was there that I actually remember seeing a woman who was doing an exercise as part of the audience of one of Master Stephen Coe's exercises.
Yes.
And I remember seeing this woman and going, I need to speak to her. And there was this huge pull. And we all have this pull. You know, there's nothing really that special about my intuition, because everybody has that intuition. We just need to listen
Yes.
to it, right? And a few days later, I forgot about this woman. And we'd done an exercise with one of Tony's speakers. And I remember taking a different route to my hotel room, a route I'd never taken before. And as I climb up the stairs, this woman is sat there with her husband as if she was waiting for me. It was the most bizarre experience. And I walk over, introduce myself, and they tell me they're healers, they're pranic healers. And they're the equivalent of Master Co on the other side of America. And I was like, okay, well, I'm a healer as well. And this is what I do. And her husband sat me down and he said, tell me your story. And I did. And it just so happened that the end of the story was I'd been told there was a woman in Africa, and I believed she was my oracle, and I want to go and meet her. And he said to me, when are you going to see her? I said, as soon as I can get my finances sorted out, I'm going to go. And if you watch Master Co, he does a lot of scanning with his hands.
Yes.
And this guy starts to do the scanning. And he goes, can you go next week? And I said, no, I have things to do. This is me, the logical brain. And I go, no, I have things to do, but I will go. And he scans and he scans. And he says, give my wife your details. We're putting you on a flight to Cameroon. And when I shared this story the next day, I mean, I couldn't speak, but when I shared this story the next day with the 550 people who had attended Life and Wealth, they were just flummoxed. They couldn't believe it. They were like, what? I was like, Wow. And yeah, Master Glenn and Master Marie, they booked my flights, and in October, I flew to Cameroon to meet this woman who I had only heard of. My sister had mentioned her to me, saying, you know, your healing that you do, we have someone in our family who does this. And my mom had never told me. I'd asked my mom to see if there was anyone I could speak to. My mom said, no, I can't think of anyone. And there was this woman here who was somehow related to us and was an oracle. And I remember, I remember arriving in Cameroon, not knowing what to expect. It was a 7-hour drive from where we live in Cameroon to where this woman lives. And when we arrived, I was doing a video for the Life and Wealth group. For anybody that knows me, I love a video. So I was there doing my video.
Yes.
Oh, I'm in Cameroon, I've arrived. And as I climb up the hill to her house, I notice a tree. And all of a sudden I start to well up because I recognize this tree from my meditations. I have never been to this place before, and I see this tree, and I literally just said, guys, I have to go. I don't think I'm going to be recording this anymore. And I never did any more recordings for the public for what happened afterwards. But I met this woman, and I speak a bit of French. She speaks no English. I know. She speaks the dialect of my mum's village, of my mum's tribe. So we took my mum and a distant cousin as translators, but we spoke exactly the same language.
Yes.
It was wonderful, and I didn't know I was going to be ordained. I just was so happy to meet someone who just got me, who got the pain and the loneliness that it is to be a healer. I get so many people come to me saying, I want to be a healer, I have to be a healer. And that's great. you know, I believe everybody's calling comes differently, but it's a very, 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 very lonely road, because you're literally holding everybody in your arms all the time. You're always giving, always. And you have to remember to give for yourself, and you have to remember to look after you, and you have to make sure that you have people who check in on you and make sure that you're okay. You have to also make sure you have your own healers. It's a bit like what Tony says. If you have a coach, and if you have a coach and the coach doesn't have a coach, then you don't want that coach. It's the same thing with a healer. You need to be able to have someone who looks after you as well. And I've learned that. I've really learned that, and now I embrace it. And I'm so blessed to have a number of people who tune in with me and check in. And I still get really emotional when people check in with me, because I'm always looking out for other people. I'm always checking. You know, people are surprised when I call them, because I'm not a text person. So I normally would just ring someone out of the blue and just make sure they're okay, because either I get a message to speak to them, and 9 times out of 10, when I speak to them, they're like, "Oh my God, how did you know?" And they'll tell me something, and it's a problem that can get resolved so quickly, that it just needs someone with an outer perspective to be able to look into. So it's a beautiful gift. I love the gift now. I'm so honored.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember when before I got ordained, I prayed to God and I said, if this gift isn't meant for me, please take it away, because it's bigger than me. It's way bigger than me. And I get so emotional even talking about it, because I know the people I've helped. I know the people who have just bumped into me, not knowing they were going to meet me, and the amount of freedom that you grant them by listening to them, and just by I call it making omelets out of broken eggs, you know. To be able for someone to bring you these broken eggs and go, I don't know what to do with them, and you make this beautiful omelet for them and hand it back to them, and it looks so pretty and so nice, and it smells lovely. You go, oh my God. Even if you don't eat eggs, right? But just the way it looks and everything else, and you can use that analogy for anything. It's a huge honor, and I don't take it lightly. But after spending 4 days in immersion with this woman, I followed her everywhere. Well, she made sure I followed her everywhere. And she took me around what is actually our family land that I didn't know about. And it was acres and acres and acres of land, and of healing properties on there. And yeah, and I said to her, what are we doing? And she was like, we're ordaining you. I was like, oh.
Oh my
logical
God.
girl again. I'm like, oh, okay, what does that mean? And it was so interesting, because she would walk in front of me, and there would be other people following. She would have her helpers, and then I got assigned my helpers. And I remember one day giving her bag. She'd asked me to carry her bag, and then I said to a cousin, I said, oh, can you carry that bag? And she went, oh, I'm not allowed to carry it. I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, she's an oracle, you're an oracle. Unless the oracle who owns the bag gives me permission to carry the bag, I can't do it. I was like, okay. And it was quite an interesting hierarchy, if you want to call it that. So I had to carry her bag the whole time, especially because she kept on giving me her bag. She was like, no, you take the bag. And it was a huge honor. And we went through different phases, which I won't share because they're very private, to actually get ordained. And then I got given my titles, if that makes sense. So my first title was, in English we call it oracle, but in Africa we call it a menyi.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's many, and it's a title. And if you arrive in Africa and they say this is a many, then you get treated with the respect that that title deserves. Then the next one she gave me was, it took me aback because I didn't know how she knew, and it's food of the mountains.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think I hold that one even more dearer than the menu. You know, if people in Africa see me, they go, oh, menu, but food of the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, which was so funny because a lot of my friends call me that, Queen.
Hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends call me Queen. They call me
Yes.
Queen Vic, you know. And but yeah, so my family call me Meni now, which is a sign of huge respect and honor. And it's so funny because one of my teachers here in the UK had said to me, when your oracle sends for you, the likelihood is that you're going to go and stay there and live there. And at the time, I couldn't think of anything worse. And I said to her, and I said to him, I'm not sure I want to live there. I'm not ready. I have so much to do in the Western world. After spending 4 days with this woman, I didn't want to leave. And I cried. I sobbed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she said to me, you have more work to do over there, so you have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what she meant. And now it all makes sense.
This is it. Wow. Yeah. Victoria, I mean, wow. You brought so much. There's so many, my mind's going into so many directions right now because you are talking about being the carrier of this powerful lineage from your family, from your ancestry. And you reluctantly, but yet powerfully accepted that.
That's
And
right.
you carried it over to the Western world because that's where you need it. Well, tell me more about that pain of being a healer.
It's very confusing. So anybody who's listening to this and thinks, oh, maybe I should be a healer, or I'm not sure, life isn't currently making sense. Yeah. Something's missing. That's where I used to be. And especially being in the corporate world at such a high level, you know, I was so senior in my workplace. I used to be a contractor, and at times I used to be the only woman on, you know, a lot of boards, right? And to feel as if you're unsettled and you're not sure what's coming next, when in my corporate life, I am expected to know exactly what's going on, where to be, which stakeholders to meet, you know, to be able to look at a project. And now I know I use my intuition to manage a lot of those projects. At the time, I just used to think I was just amazing at what I did. I mean, I was, but, you know, I used to be able to call a project straight away. I used to hear a brief of a project and I could tell you straight away whether it was going to work or not, right? Or what it took to actually be able to build that. But when you feel that level of uncertainty, that could easily, in your mind, affect your identity. It's a very scary place to be. And there were a lot of tears. And I led my life from a place of lack and fear, because my biggest fear was not having money, not being able to afford the things I currently had, how I would look to the world. Because people saw me as the girl who had everything. And whether or not that was true or not, that worked for me at the time. I loved having the big car and traveling around the world. I never used to plan. I literally would be talking to you, for example, right now, and tomorrow I could be in Hawaii. And I would literally just go, I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow, booked, go. And all of a sudden, that freedom got taken away from me. And God, the universe, whatever you believe in, got me to settle down, have a lockdown of my mind to start thinking about others and not just me. And made me realize that this isn't just about you. This is about the whole world. This is about the effect that you have on one person and the effect that they have on the next person. And you are healing by association.
Yes.
This isn't about you. This has nothing to do about you. What you have just done in the corporate world, that's just us testing your ability to be a leader. You have transformed lives there. You have gotten people up from earning, sort of like £20,000 a year. I have people now in the corporate world earning hundreds of thousands because I've mentored them and got them to that level. But the message was, no, there are people who need so much more than a career. There are people who need to live. There are people who need their lives back. And there are people who need the foundation of their lives to be set in stone so that they can build an empire on top. And that's your responsibility. So screw what car you're driving, Vic. Screw what country you're going to be traveling to. This is your calling. And you need to step up. Step up, be seen, reach out. And it was lonely because at the time I was like, who's going to believe me? Who's going to come and see me? Who's going to believe me? And the message was, you will be found. You don't need to do anything. You just sit still and they will come and find you. How am I going to earn a living? They will find you and they will pay what it takes to get this done. You don't need to do anything. Stop thinking about you. So it was a huge lesson. And when you're going through that, you feel as if nobody understands. Right. And I have a teacher who, whenever I ask him a question, he'll always say to me, Victoria, the answer is in the question. Now, the first time he told me that, I was ready to throw something at him. I was like, dude,
get out.
I'm like, dude, I need an answer. And but if you sit still and you listen to literally what I've just said, the answer is in the question, and you meditate on it, you realize that the answer does come to you. Yes. But yeah, and also your friends as well. You realize that your friends, my friends have been amazing, by the way. Oh my goodness. I don't know how I chose my friends before this. You know, you get people who go through a transformation and say, I realize that I'm not on the same wavelength as my friends. Even if I weren't on the same wavelength as my friends, all of my friends, when I told them about my gift, they just went, of course you are. That's who you are. Yes. We always knew that. And they've supported me so much, which has helped with that loneliness, because sometimes you feel as if nobody's going to understand. But if you listen to your heart and you pay attention, even when you're walking down the street, there's always someone who may just want to look at you, or maybe someone who just may want to say, hey, listen to what they're saying, because the message is coming from them. The messages come from the most unlikely places, you know? But yeah, it's so different. I don't know. Well, no, that's not true. I was going to say, I don't know anyone who grows up thinking I'm going to be a healer. I know people who were born, I think we're all born healers. And there's some people who maintain that level of innocence even into their adulthood. I didn't. I never wanted to be. That was never an aspiration. Wow. No, not even cooking. Even when I was cooking and going through that whole thing, it never was. I wanted to write. Now I hate writing. I'm writing a book. It's a struggle. Wow. Yeah, but I yeah, I always knew I wanted to help people. I always knew I was good at talking to people. I was always good at solving problems. So at school, if people had problems, they came to look for me. I would solve everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that I still hold to my core when I'm healing, when I'm cooking, because if you want to call it a coach, that's the coach in me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been able to transform. Goodness gracious, some of the cases I've worked on have just been. There's one client in particular who I hold very dear, and when they came to work with me, they had such a toxic relationship with their mom, and they just couldn't, literally they couldn't stand their mom. It was almost like a duty to be with their mom rather than from a place of love. And they'd also gone through a major breakup. They were engaged to be married, and that didn't happen. And again, that was quite toxic as well. And to be able to see this person now flourishing and actually loving their mom and being able to have a relationship with their mom, which now filters to their siblings benefiting from this love and from their nieces and nephews benefiting from this. It's such, you watch it and you know you had so much to do with this, because we had so many sessions working on this. And it was a mixture of healing and of coaching and purging so much emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and this is the client that comes back to me and books 10 sessions over and over and over again, that when I look at them now, I go, wow. And then I have to remind myself to say, Vic, thank you. Because you helped make that happen.
Yes.
You helped make that happen. You facilitated
Wow.
that to happen. So yeah, so it can be lonely, but equally very rewarding.
Yes, and you know, to me, it feels like you went through this huge transformation where you had to give give up a powerful identity, and that's, I think, for human beings, the hardest part is to give up what we identify with, because you have to transform. And I think, like Tony Robbins saying, you know, you have to step into being the person that you want to be. If you're not identifying with that, there's change is not possible in your life. So you went, and that's, I acknowledge how much it takes to break the past identity to step into a new identity that is unknown, because you're in this open field of what are the messages that are coming. Am I tuning in constantly every single second to know what's coming in and what's being wanted out of me? You know, what am I called to do right now? And you are doing that. It's a completely new identity and a new perspective. And to me, it feels like, you know, going from that strict masculine perspective into the feminine openness and receiving. But you obviously you bring in those two together, because you keep your gifts from the past that you learned as a corporate person, and using those skills to open up into that big field of the, you know, to me, that's the feminine receiving that openness. And do you feel like right now, us as humanity, we're going through that huge transformation, and maybe there's so much resistance because it takes so much to give up the old identity and fall into the unknown?
Completely. It's scary.
Yes.
It's scary. I mean, goodness gracious, where we are right now, for example, the one thing that we do know, whether you're coming from a place of fear or you're coming from a place of hope, the one thing that everybody can agree on is that life will never be the same again.
Right.
And I get emotional whenever that song plays as well.
Yes. We should play it. Okay, here we go.
We should play it and have a dance for sure. We know life's not going to be the same again. We know that things are going to change. And for some of us, we don't know what that looks like. And whatever whatever scaffolding is holding you up right now, sometimes we would rather have a weak scaffolding than no scaffolding at all.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, sometimes we just need to surrender and just take that leap. Because guess what? You're gonna get caught. You will get caught. Somebody will catch you. Something will catch you. You're not gonna fall down and die. You're not. You just have to just surrender to it, because we're so much more stronger than what we give ourselves for. I think I was saying to my mom today. I speak to my mom every day, and
yes.
And I said to her something like, oh, you know, that's another thing. Helping with what I'm doing at the moment, the pain on my feet is horrendous. It's just, you're on your feet for 8 hours. And I was saying to my mom, I said, you know what? I said, every morning I get up and I go to this place and I can't believe I'm still doing it. And I said, because it's a bigger purpose. And my mom said to me, I bet you never thought you could. And I was like, if you'd have given me the pain in a bottle and said, feel this pain, now go and do this, I would have said no, but you're still doing it. We're so much more stronger than what we give ourselves credit for. And there is so much for saying to connect to your feminine. That doesn't mean that you ignore your masculine. It's just about understanding where your masculine energy fits in. Yes. And where your feminine energy fits in. So, for example, when I'm at the Tony events, I have learned to just be my feminine, because the scaffolding around me by all you angels is so immense. I know if I lean back, someone's going to catch me. If I lean this way, someone's going to catch me. So I just surrender. And that's what these dresses mean. I wear these dresses all the time now, because again, the girl who makes them for me makes them with love, and they're so freeing, but it's very flowy, very feminine. And for me, it enhances my feminine energy. So I wear them because of that, because I don't want to be sat here talking to you all dressed up in a, I want to look nice for you, but I don't want to be all booted and everything else, because, I'm feeling as if, oh my God, that belt's too tight, so I need to, I just want to relax and just be in and I'm not thinking about the dress. The dress just speaks for itself, right? And my freedom speaks for itself, because it comes in my delivering the message at the end of the day. So yes, we need to surrender more. It's easier said than done. And what I have been doing recently is actually doing meditations for people, and also doing specialized tailored meditations for people as well, just so that people can relax and surrender into this. Something else that I've realized as well is that we do a lot of meditation, but a lot of people don't know how to meditate, and also helping people learn how to meditate, because I think we put so much pressure on ourselves. When I started to meditate, I met people who were like, oh yeah, I meditate for an hour. I'm like, I've got ants in my pants every 5 minutes. I don't know how it's true. I'm very honest. I don't know how people used to do it. But I started to learn, and I started to connect more to myself. And then I found a space where I wanted to be and sometimes never leave. Does that make sense? And
yes, it does.
If you think of sort of like the most special place for you, it doesn't matter where it is. Forget about judgment, right? It is a place. There are times when you think of something so much that you go into a trance, right? And that's meditation. You just need to let that vision work for you. And that's why you get given dreams, because with dreams, you can put in what you want, take out what you want, move them around. That's your playing field. And I'm a strong believer, if you can dream it, you can have it.
Wow. It's so beautiful. And on certain times where identities are shifting and being, literally put down the ground, destroyed for many people. And it is painful. I mean, I feel the pain for the people who are going through that. And at the same time, there's so much hope. And like when you say that place where you just fall back and you can be the creator, because we are creators anyway. But we need that. We can't just create from that place of tension. Like, I want to get that, you know, I mean, that's important. We got to have the drive. But then, you know, you got to find a place where you just completely give in to the embrace. And that's where the true creation comes through. And it seems like you're really facilitating that for people in many different ways. And by the way, yes, go ahead.
No, completely. And you know what? That's the one thing we need to remember. We are creators.
Yeah.
I used to, a long time ago, used to say to people, oh, I'm not very creative. I must have been so absent-minded to say that. But I used to say, oh, I'm not very creative. And I don't know what I thought being creative was. But even when you create from a place of lack, you will create lack. You'll always create something.
Yes.
You just may not create what you want.
Or fear.
Or fear, right? If you have to. And I had a teacher who used to say to me, one part of the learnings were, think of what you would love. And that's what you'll create. Think of what you would love, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's not about thinking about, oh my God, what I can't. When I normally say to clients, I'll say, okay, tell me what you want. They always start with, well, I don't want this and I don't want that. And I said, no, that's not what I asked you. What do you want? Well, I don't want someone who does this and I don't want a situation like this. And I said, that's not what I asked you. And it takes some training to actually get people to say,
what do you want?
This is what I want. I would love a garden. I would love a kitchen. I would love a boyfriend. I would love a husband. I would love a baby. Okay, then what can we add on top of that? What sort of, you know, out of a house, what sort of house do you want? Do you want a house with 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? Then you can add on to it. But if you keep on going, well, I don't want a house that's got then you end up having a house that doesn't have that. And then you go, well, that's not what I asked for. No, but that's what you're focusing on. And again, we get told what you focus on, you know, whatever you resist is what you create, right?
Yeah. Where the focus goes, energy goes,
energy
right?
goes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's that simple. It's just that simple. And this is one of the things that I love about Tony's work. He pulls from different areas and he teaches us. And we go there and we dance and we make friends and everything else. There comes a time when we need to pay attention to what he says.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
There comes a time when all the traveling and all the networking and everything else is great. And then one day you just need to start paying attention to what he is saying.
The message. Wow. Beautiful. And so I want to ask you, what do you want? What in your biggest, beautiful imagination, where do you see the world going for us?
Oh, goodness. Well, what do I want, or what do I want for the world?
Well, what do you, it's like, what do you want, and where do you see it in that imagination that actually you want to manifest?
So what I would love is to have a network of areas where I can feed people anytime, any place. Whether it's people attending seminars, who knows what's going to happen after this, but whether it's attending seminars, cooking for people in the corporates, as well as granting people the freedom to live their lives, and that involves healing them in whatever they need, but also to be able to travel around the world and do that. So I don't feel as if I have to be in one place. I really dream of a yacht, and the yacht always keeps coming back to my visions, where there's a yacht where I literally sit on the yacht and just sail around the world and have all these amazing online sessions with people, but also sometimes nip off and go and cook for people in person, or have a team who do the cooking for me. So I'm currently actually, one of the things I'm working on at the moment is to provide food for some key workers for a company, a world-renowned company here in the UK. And I'm manifesting a food truck, which I am struggling to get hold of, but that's my current dream, to have a food truck so I can go around and provide food to different key workers here in the UK and in London especially. But yeah, I mean, it's all about food, feeding and healing, and wherever I can do it, I will. When I was in the States, we were looking at doing it for a number of events. That's been put on hold. But I also believe that that's because there's bigger work to be done. And it's not that it's been put on hold because it's not important. It's just that there's more people who need that service right now. And that's what I'm working on.
Wow. This vision of what you share about healing individuals so that, you know, the world can be healed, and that's how we transform. This is what your work is. It's what you're doing. It's really powerful. I really resonated with that so profoundly. You know, because it is it's one person at a time, but yet it is about the whole community, and it's exponential when the more of us can actually go deep and release our power to heal ourselves, the more exponentially the world grows and gets out of the fear and out of the darkness. And falls into the embrace and the creation.
Yeah, completely. It's one of my slogan on my vision board says, feeding the billions, and that's the intention. And that's to feed people, whether it's with food, with healing, with friendship, with whatever you have to be able to feed people with. And that's why I'm always speaking to people who cook, whether they cook as a hobby or whether they cook as a business. I'm always speaking to people because I have literally spent the last year building a repertoire of people who cook different things, because as I move along, I normally outsource certain foods to certain people. And you know, it's all about leveraging. So if you look at RPM and you go, okay, what you're trying to achieve and what can you leverage and what can't you? Well, that's my element of leveraging, which is I'm always looking for people who can cook, because I always tap into them. So there's a girl here in the UK who makes the most amazing vegan brownies. And when I fed 900 people in October last year, I called on her and I said, I need X amount of brownies. And she got them made, put them in a box and sent them to me and stuff, which enabled,
It was how many? How many people did you feed?
It was 900 people over 2 days.
Wow. With brownies.
Well, those I made salad boxes and food boxes, and but I outsourced the drinks. So I had juices that I designed. So I designed healing juices, and I found a company who could do that for me. So they were assigned to do the juices, and I had somebody cook the brownies, and that was part of the deal. So I'm always
amazing.
Because you're healing people. So whether I healed her pockets or I healed her publicity, whatever it was, there was healing on all sorts. People ate, she got paid, her brand got noticed even more. It was an amazing event.
Wow. I'm just overflowing right now with all this. You're nourishing me, and I bet you everybody who's listening just feels nourishment in some way or another, you know, for your heart, or maybe you're gonna run to your kitchen and cook something beautiful and healing. How about that? I'm getting hungry too, actually.
Right.
Wow, Victoria. So if you were to like give us a message, like it's something that you wanna give to the audience, you know, to remember. For them to keep with them.
Whatever's going on, you've got this. Whatever is going on, you've got this. you're so much more powerful than you are giving yourself credit for. So if you watch this, whether it's today or in 5 years' time, you know, take a moment afterwards and just think of where your highest tension is. Think about it and then break it down. And you realize you got this. There's always a way.
Mm.
Yeah. Trust, surrender. You got it. You've got this. Yeah.
Wow, that's it. Let's have it sink in. Surrender and trust.
Yeah.
You got it.
You got it. You got it. You got it. We've all got it. Again, it's the message that we hear from the likes of Tony. I've mentioned him so many times on this call, but you know, all you need is within you right now. You got it. You just need to believe it. You know, but you need to have a lockdown. We all need a lockdown within ourselves to be able to understand and realize exactly what it is we have that we can offer ourselves and others. Whatever we're offering ourselves, we're going to offer to others. It will never be just about you. It will always be about you and the knock-on effect you have to the next person, to the next person, next person. We don't, just like the coronavirus, and they're trying to tell us how easy it is to pass this on. Just transmute coronavirus into something so amazing, and then see the knock-on effect it's going to have.
Yes,
right?
and be infectious with the beauty of it, right?
You know, positive energy is so much more powerful than negative energy. So if you just look at coronavirus and just transmute that to positive energy and put that out there, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Think of how many lives you're going to touch.
Yes.
It's not about you. It's about you and everybody else.
Right. It's like laughter. When you start laughing, everybody else is starting to laugh.
Right.
It's the same amazing, powerful infectiousness of the beauty, positive stuff. So we can do it. We got it. Yay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Victoria. I mean, yes. You bring in so much life to the world. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Tell
it
us,
was wonderful.
Just tell us really briefly, how can people get in touch with you if they feel like they could get even more nourished?
So I think the best thing to do, because right now my website is under construction, long story, but I think the best way to do is for people to reach out for me on Facebook. I am very, very good at responding to messages. So if you drop me a Facebook Messenger, then you can get hold of me. If you need to get my number, I am based in the UK, so we can put my number on this video as well when it's posted. Yes. And also my email address as well. But in general, I think most of the people that are going to be watching this live on Facebook or on
we'll post it on Facebook. Yes. So and I'll post it. Yes, your name. Right. Reach out.
Yeah, just reach out and ask questions and stuff. There's a number of, services that I provide, ranging from living with you for a period of time, which I did with Alison Armstrong in Hawaii. So living with you and doing an ongoing healing for the house and your environment, as well as cooking, to regular sessions. They start from 45 minutes upwards, where people have sessions and they can book sessions of 10 and go through whatever they want to go through. And it ranges from either just simple coaching to healing. All of it's intuitive. The healing elements really in depth, or just cooking for events that you're going to be attending, or showing you, providing you guidance and aligning you with the food that will serve you. So, and that's what a lot of people get intrigued by, is people come to me either suffering from depression or anxiety, and I work with them to create a menu that will serve them, that helps combat those emotions, what have you. So there's a number of services, and some people don't know what they want, and they just book a session with me, and I will tell them what's best, that would best serve them. And where in very rare cases, if I can't work with you, I'll either refer you to somebody else, or I will say to you, this is what you need. But so far, you know, I've had a 100% rating on the people that we've worked with. So I'm very blessed and very honored.
Absolutely. Wow.
And yeah, and if people want to see referrals as well, or testimonials, depending on which country you're from and what you call them, then yes, I can hook you up onto my Facebook page and you can see there.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing all that. I mean, there's so much that Victoria, and who wouldn't want to live with Victoria anyway? Wow.
It's so funny because you don't, again, your clients normally tell you what they want. And when several of your clients who you've lived with somehow, either by coincidence or by invitation, you know, I had a client say to me recently, I need you to come and be at my home because I need my home to mean something again. And that just gets you. Yeah, because they know that whatever is the current state of their home, homes have energies. And sometimes we need to go there to transmute that energy so that it serves the person again. I had a Platt member, one of Tony's Platts, approach me recently, and she wanted me to come. She was asking me to come to her home and cook for her. This was before all of this happened. And I could tell her exactly what the house was going through. And what was so interesting was she said to me, oh my God, how do you know? And I said, I'm just getting the energy from it. I don't know where she lives. I've never met this woman before. And it turned out that there had been a major breakup in the house. You know, they're now a separated family, and the house has absorbed the energy, and that was now filtering into the rest of the family. So they want somebody to come in to be able to shift that energy, so that even if they decide to sell that home again, it will attract the right buyers, the right people, but also give them the vibration that they need to be able to go find the right home.
Wow.
So the work that I do, again, it's not just about, oh, we need you to come and cook. It's about the knock-on effect it has in your life overall, and those of everybody else, right?
Yes, exactly. Right. Wow. I mean, it's so much. Oh, you're such an expansive being, Victoria. I cannot really thank you enough for sharing, I believe, just a little bit of who you really are, because that's just a little piece of who Victoria is. I know that there is so much more, and so much more expansive, incredible gifts and healing for individuals, but healing for the community, healing for the world. And just realizing, you know, it's like we need to be aware of our vibration that we're putting out there, and we need to constantly work on ourselves to actually clear it up, because this is the key for transformation and for changing the world. Wow. Well, thank you so much again. I so appreciate you. I am full of gratitude, and I know this will serve many people who get in touch with you and who will get your message. And so this is what we're here for.
I appreciate it.
Wow.
I appreciate it. Thanks for asking me to be part of this. It was such a huge honor.
Oh, honor's mine.
Yeah, and for allowing me to share this story and stuff. And I hope that if it helps one person, then our job here is done.
It spreads out, right?
Right.
Wow. Well, thank you again. And thank you guys for watching. This is Monica, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. And we'll be back with more incredible, absolutely powerful leaders and healers. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.